first, as always these days, COVID. Let's start by looking at the latest COVID data. The vaccine rollout seems to be continuing at pace. Cases, hospitalisations, they're all falling. So is it all pretty much good news now, Kate? Over to you.
Thanks, Andrew. Taking a look at cases first, we continue to see a retreat of this virus across the UK, hovering right around where cases were in early December, just as England was coming out of its second lockdown. A similar story is playing out with hospitalisations, which currently mirror where we were in mid-December. And when we're looking at this chart, we do have to remember that a lot of those people are under the age of 65. And if we look at deaths, the 7-day rolling average for COVID deaths is falling as well, back to the levels we were experiencing several weeks before we hit the peak of the latest wave of the virus. Now, I'm wary of hope these days, Andrew, but if you were feeling hopeful, you look at the vaccine race and you think that this might just be the last time that we're presented with charts so stark and so dismal as the ones that we've been looking at for the past few weeks. Because as the death rate falls, the rate of people being inoculated goes up and up. And this means people with jabs should be, broadly speaking, protected from severe illness from this virus in the future. And as you can see here, the UK is still storming ahead of its European counterparts with over 13 million people now having received at least their first dose of the vaccine. And I'm also delighted to report, based on the Spectator's vaccine tracker, that the UK isn't just set to hit its target by the 15th of February, it's currently on track to do so 2 days early, which would be this Saturday. We'll see if we get this surprise early delivery, but this all but guarantees that when SpectatorTV airs next week, every person over the age of 70 will have been offered a vaccine and will be on to the next phase of inoculating the next priority groups. Understandably, the more good news we get, the more people want to know about what it means for reopening, and this is really difficult because the government simply hasn't laid out its criteria for lifting restrictions. This is a chart that was produced a few weeks ago by the COVID-19 Actuaries Response Group. Now, this chart estimated that we would hit the 15th of February target, which we are on track to do, that vaccines would be roughly 70% effective, and the recent data we have around the vaccines being used in the UK is that their efficacy rate meets this criteria. What it didn't account for was whether or not vaccines could, in addition to protecting people from the virus, stop them from transmitting the virus as well. And we don't have anything conclusive on this front, but some recent data for the Oxford vaccine suggests that it can reduce transmission by about 2/3. So actually, you can see this chart being updated to reflect a more positive scenario. But the point is that what we're set to achieve in a matter of days should, according to this modeling, reduce deaths by roughly 85% in the next 6 weeks and hospital admissions by 60% in the next 6 weeks. Now, you'll note that ICU admissions don't go down as much, but we know that in terms of who's in the ICU right now, a lot of those numbers are made up by the under 65s who haven't been offered the vaccine yet. Of course, these people are also more likely to leave the ICU and make a full recovery. But even if this modeling turns out to be broadly right, that's still a very meaningful shift. Yet we just don't know what level of cases, hospitalizations, or deaths the government's willing to tolerate to start restoring some freedoms. And they're not giving anything away. Apart from the target of the 8th of March, when they're hoping they can start to reopen schools, we are in the dark as to what might happen in the months ahead. Yesterday, you had the Transport Secretary and even the Prime Minister refusing to commit to foreign holidays this year, but also domestic holidays being possible over the summer. So it's really hard because what we're seeing right now is actually more measures coming in, even though more and more people are becoming protected from the virus. The UK has adopted a stricter quarantine policy in recent days. It's going to be implemented from next Monday, mostly done in the name of preventing new strains from entering the UK, which they fear could undermine vaccine efficacy. As you can see from this chart, unfortunately, the data around air passenger travel is only produced quarterly by the Home Office, so we won't know how recent policy will affect travel for some time. But you can see here that travel has dropped off significantly from the first lockdown, never coming close to recovering last summer, where it was before lockdown started in March last year. The Prime Minister and Prime Minister's questions yesterday said that we were down to about 20,000 passengers a day, some arriving into the UK. So, some are saying this still isn't low enough. Others are questioning the human impact of these travel restrictions, even for emergency reasons, making it near impossible to travel. All of this at the moment anyway, being done so in the name of a hypothetical mutant strain that the vaccines won't respond to at all. The World Health Organization bolstered the UK strategy this week when it recommended the Oxford vaccine be used for all age groups above 18, including the over 65s. Good news for the Oxford vaccine, good news for the UK strategy, but we simply don't know what it means yet for restoring our liberty.